Merry Christmas, guys. We are gonna make a cool little Christmas sign. Here we go. So today we are featuring our template of the month for December of 2023. We're calling this one Vintage Christmas because it has kind of an old antique look to it. We're also using our 1.5" and our 2" fatty font. Now the template of the month you will get free if you are a premium member or an executive member, and we've got a link in the description below if you want to go check those memberships out. Also, we'll have links to everything that we use, including this stuff and the router bits. Everything will be down there. Let's get to going. Let's get this thing done.
So when you're laying out a sign like this with multiple lines, one of the main things you want to look for is that you have the same amount of space on the top of the board and the bottom of the board. So here Dad is drawing his line for the bottom line. Now, he's making marks for the bottom of the top line. When you have multiple different sizes, you want to make sure that the base of those letters are all on the same line. So that's why you won't draw a line on the top of the top line, but the bottom. I hope that makes sense. A lot of tops and bottoms there. Now he's just spacing out his lines to make sure he has even space to the left of the board and to the right of the board. And then he wants to get this spacing in between the letters themselves. So laying out is really all about making an even look, making sure that your spacing is right. If you have too much space on one side or the other, or top or bottom, then it's really going to show up once your sign is complete. One thing that's important, especially on smaller letters when you're spraying, you want to be directly above the letters, because if you spray at an angle, you're going to knock them off of the line and they're going to get crooked, and that is really irritating. For the template, we're using mostly the carving liner. Now these have a lot of small little lines. You know, the antlers have little kind of spirals in them, so you want to set your depth right. We set this at 1/8 of an inch deep. Now with small lines like this, it's really important that you keep as much of your hands on the board as you can. Remember, the more flesh you have on the board or the bench, the more control you're going to have. And when it comes to tiny little lines like this, even the feet of the reindeer, one little bobble can really make a big difference in the completed look of your sign. You'll notice that on the snowflakes, Dad is starting from the outside and he's working his way in. So he's getting all of the round parts on the outside carved first, then he's going to work his way in towards the middle and get those straight lines. Once that's done, he's going to go around the outside and he's going to actually kind of take off a little bit of those points just to make sure they don't chip out during the sanding. One thing to remember, guys, is that you're probably not going to get all of the sharp little points, but you don't have to. The carving liner has a fine enough point to where you get as close as you can until both sides meet, and it's going to look just fine. Now, because I'm an idiot, I didn't press the record button to show that we took the profile bit and we ran around all that work again to give Dad a little bit of room for his 60 degree at 1/4 of an inch deep. Once that profile work was done, Dad just took the 60 degree and he took out all of the black inside the carving. We do the majority of our inset carving with our 60 degree bit. Now inset means that you're carving all of the inside of the line and that the lettering will be black once you spray it and sand it off. The 60 degree stays sharp for a long time and it's perfect for this particular application. The fatty font has a lot of benefits to it. First of all, it's kind of a different look. It's more of a upbeat type of look. It's not very aggressive, but also it's great for beginners. Because this has more of a rounded look to it, it doesn't have the sharp points that can be kind of challenging if you're not super used to it. You'll notice that as Dad's carving, there's still a little bit of the wood left after he goes around the inside of the lines. Now, normally when we have something like that, we'll use the 90 degree to go back in there and take that out. But there's not really enough for that. You're not going to notice any difference in the texture between the 60 and the 90. So once Dad has all of his outline done, then he just goes back and does a quick once over and takes off anything that's sticking up above the carving, and I think it looks really good. For the edge, Dad's going to scallop it, and he's going to use the 45 degree chamfer bit. And Dad sinks this thing really deep to give it a nice deep look. This is something I struggle with a little bit, and if you struggle with it too, a little tip is to take your pencil and just kind of make lines instead of trying to freehand it and eyeball it. That helps quite a bit, but this definitely takes some practice to get your hand at it. One thing about scalloping is it can leave some super sharp edges. So you definitely want to take some sandpaper. I think Dad's using like 120 right here, and just dull those edges a little bit. That way no one gets impaled. Now we're going to use our primer and spray all the carving. Now you can see here that some of this stream of this spray is more like a stream instead of a mist. The temperature of the can makes a huge difference in this, and we didn't warm this can up. You can see that it's pretty cold out there. Now, once all the spray is dry, which only takes a few minutes, Dad's using an 80 grit disc to get off the majority of the black. Then he's going to use a 120 grit disc and give it a nice smooth finish. On our videos, we only show spraying one coat of clear, but generally it's a good idea to give it 3 or 4, especially if it's going outside.
All right, guys, there you go. A cool little Christmas sign, and boy, does it feel like Christmas out here. It's down in the 40s. Many of you, that's summertime, but for us, we're really cold out here. But anyway, I'm really happy with the way this came out. We used our vintage Christmas template, our 1.5" and our 2" fatty font, and we used 4 different router bits: the carving liner, the profile bit, the 60 degree V groove, and the 45 degree chamfer. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you kind of learned something from it. If you have any questions on anything, please email me, eric@makeawoodsign.com. And again, links to everything will be down in the description. Merry Christmas, guys. We love you. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.